What's going on, Eagles Nation? How you doing, division rivals? What's going on, NFL world? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel. In today's topic, guys, the Eagles, well, we made a claim here, right? The Giants released Shakial Taylor, who was a guy who's got previous experience inside of Rich Gannon's system. You know, he was an undrafted rookie free agent back in 2019. He came out of Kansas, and he was claimed, you know, obviously the Colts kind of not claimed him, but they signed him to an undrafted rookie free agent contract back then. And he actually played in some games for Rich Gannon, but it was kind of it's a very low-key signing, guys. I would tell you guys, don't get overhyped about this signing because Rich Gannon and you know, that Colts front office, they decided to release him, and he ended up going over to Denver. Then he ended up back with the Giants. But, hey, it is a guy that knows the system. And let's be honest, there's not a ton of depth on the outside. And that, you know, from that perspective, guys, when you look at a guy like Shakial Taylor, you know, it kind of makes some sense. I mean, trying to say that this guy doesn't have a chance to be a depth piece, I mean, look at the rest of the roster. I mean, he kind of does. Physical measurements here. I went back and I looked at the scouting report on this young man, like his combine. And even though he's listed at 6 foot, 184 pounds, I saw a little bit of a variance in his height. I've heard some people pump it up that he's like, well, he'll be one of the few guys that are 6 foot plus on the Eagles roster. Kind of. Because the scouting combine has him at about 5'11" and a half. So I don't know, guys. I'm not going to weigh in on that. I don't know. I just say that he's got decent height. Let's leave it there, right? Like, he's got decent height, okay? He's certainly not a 5'9" slot corner. I'm a little concerned because there's some good and there's some bad from the pro day numbers that I've seen from Shakial Taylor. So to begin with, really good speed. Shakial Taylor has really good foot speed. 4.42 40-yard dash. It's very good, right? I mean, that's going to keep up with the majority of the speedsters across the NFL. Where I'm concerned is when you look at something like the L drill. Sorry, guys, football talk. What we call the L drill, most people would know is the 3-cone drill. That's something that really looks at your change of direction, right? It takes a look at your body control, how much body control you can have. Shakial Taylor put up a 7.4, which is not very good, guys. That's not a good number at all. Like, that concerns me a little bit. Then when you take a look at his what we call the short shuttle, you guys probably, you know what I'm saying when I say short shuttles. 20-yard shuttles, what it's normally referred to on television, but it's really called the short shuttle. That's another one. It really checks like your sudden quickness, if you will, right? It also kind of tests your change of direction. You put up a 4.47. I'm a little concerned, man. I mean, I can't say that, like, I'm not going to say that this kid has tight hips and he doesn't flip his hips well. He doesn't, you know, I'm not going to say that stuff because I need film to support the measurements. Like, these measurements mean crap to me without seeing the film on it. But it does cue me into, like, hey, one of the things when I do a film breakdown on Shakial Taylor, I really do need to pay attention to his hips. How's he flipping his hips? You got to really pay attention to that kind of stuff. Like, check that short area quickness, that short area athleticism with him, and just see if these are anomalies compared to the film. But I just want to make you guys aware of that. Like, I saw it. It does make me a little concerned. Arm length, if you're looking at like his reach, it's 31 and 1/8 inches, which isn't horrible. Like, it's, you know, like I said, 32-inch arm length or greater on the outside. Kind of, you know, that's a rangy, like lanky kind of corner. You think of Bradbury, like a James Bradbury, a guy that can really get in there and disrupt, you know, passes. He's a little short of being able to do that, probably. Smaller hands, 8.5-inch hands. Doesn't matter. Can you catch? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, bigger your hands are, you're more likely able to go up there and one-hand a ball, sure. But you know what? Some of that stuff is really more so about your eye and hand coordination more than anything. So, yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a concern, guys, but he's playing defensive back. He's not a wide receiver. Wingspan, 74 and 7/8 inches, almost 75 inches. It's actually not a bad wingspan for a guy of his height. That's big Hightower. He's basically got the same exact wingspan of like a Hightower. We'll have to see, guys. I mean, what I can tell you is looking over the numbers, like, everything here is projection, right? Because we're not looking at Rich Gannon's scheme. We're looking at schemes that Rich Gannon, you know, coached in. You know, he was the secondary coach there in Indianapolis, so it's not necessarily his scheme. But the scheme that he was coaching in Indianapolis, there were 4 primary coverages that you'll need to know. The first primary coverage that they ran a lot was cover 3, right? The Eagles were a little cover 1 heavy last year. They were top 10 in cover 1, which is a man concept. You know, it's a single high safety man kind of concept here. You're going to see that single high safety, but more of a zone concept where you're playing thirds of the field. the Eagles are no stranger to this. We primarily ran this in 2019, and even in 2018, you could see a lot of cover 3 with the Eagles. But we're kind of reverting back to that. The second highest coverage, though, that he played is something that we have to keep our eye on because the Colts were the #1 football team in the entire NFL at running this particular coverage, and that's cover 2. Cover 2 is going to be, like, I can tell you right now, this guy is not going to expose his corners very often. Like, that's going to be a big difference between Jim Schwartz's system and Rich Gannon. He's not going to leave his guys on islands like that. You look at something like cover 0, guys. He finished 31st in the league. There was only 3 pass attempts. I shouldn't say only 3 times they ran it, but there were only 3 pass attempts against him out of a cover 0. It just tells you he doesn't really believe in leaving his corners out there on that island with no support, no help. Then you look at something like cover 2, where they're the #1 team in the league, running 105 attempts on them out the season. Like, just tells you, like, he's going to play some double safety looks here, right? You're gonna get dual safety looks. Third highest one will be still man coverage principles. He's still gonna play some cover 1 guys. 1 snap short of what he played in cover 2. Cover 2 is 105 snaps. Cover 1 is 104 snaps. That's not very high on the list, guys. It's the bottom third of the NFL. Is 24th. He's still in the upper tier of the bottom third, but nonetheless, like, certainly there's going to be a backing off of those man coverage principles. There's going to be a lot more zone coverage principles here. And the last thing, this is a coverage that I hate too, guys. I really do. But perhaps we'll come around to loving it if it's executed properly. And that might be the biggest issue of why we hated this coverage in Philadelphia, which was quarters coverage, cover 4. Man, I just go back to 2019 in that Minnesota game, and just like the 2 or 3 touchdowns we got burnt by playing quarters coverage because guys couldn't communicate the coverage responsibility. Like, I'm just hoping that does not come back here to haunt us again, because Rich Gannon was fairly, even though it's only the 4th highest coverage that he ran in terms of the NFL, it was the 13th most run coverage. 84 plays out of that. That's pretty high, guys. Like I said, you're going to see cover 3. That's going to be the primary base coverage package. Then after that, you're going to see cover 2, followed by cover 1, followed by quarters coverage. That's what the secondary is going to look like, guys. And then, kind of put another way, a lot of zone coverage. Still will have some man principles, some man concepts here and there. He did not run a lot of Tampa 2, but Tampa 2 has fallen out of the NFL, guys. It's just not run heavy. I don't think, I could be mistaken, so double check me here, but I'm pretty sure nobody ran above 60 plays on the season. Like, there was less than 60 attempts from any team in Tampa 2. Like, I don't think anyone even came close to that. Gannon only played 4 snaps. Like, there was only 4 attempts against Tampa 2, guys. That ranked like 19th in the NFL. Like, these guys they don't really play that anymore. Cover 6 is also one that's kind of fading. It was made really popular back in the day with Pagano out there, and what was going on once before in Indianapolis, and then we kind of saw that transpire and come to fruition in the days in Chicago, early 2010 decade. We saw that kind of come back into the NFL world, and now it's kind of fizzled out. You just don't get a lot of cover 6 anymore, guys. Man under cover 2, guys, this isn't the Giants system, so you're not going to get a lot of that man under cover 2. The Giants played it really well. I'm going to tell you the biggest secret in the NFL. Please do not let the Giants sign Rasul Douglas. He's a good fit for their system. You put James Bradbury and Rasul Douglas out there, these are 2 rangy, lengthy corners that love to compete underneath. Foolishly at times for Rasul Douglas, but the guy loves to compete. That's the one thing I always loved about Rasul, is that the guy was a competitor. And he will compete, and he's got range to him. Like, he would be a very good fit for the Giants in the system they run. We don't really have that here, though. Rich Gannon's not going to bring that to Philadelphia, guys. On the season, he ranked 30th. There was only 10 attempts coming out of man under cover 2 concept. So a lot of cover 2 will be really no Tampa 2, and he doesn't really play a whole lot of man under cover 2. So it's not really his kind of cup of tea. I mean, what does this tell us about the secondary that's going to come into the Eagles? If I was scouting, guys, I would definitely be looking at the fits for zone coverage, right? You want guys that not only have played a lot of zone coverage, but show you the ability to read and diagnose plays in the zone, right? That's the biggest problem. If you guys remember, I used to have a saying for Sidney Jones, because I kept trying to tell people I think Sidney Jones has it. Like, it's there if you watch him. He's got to be in a man-based coverage system, though. I don't know if you guys remember me really angry about the way Sidney Jones kind of everything unfolded here with him. But I always had that saying, guys, where I used to tell you guys, if Sidney's stinking, Sidney's stinking. And that's the problem when you get into a cover 2 or you get into a primary zone-based coverage, guys, is that it does involve a lot of thinking. Like, you have an area of responsibility it's a subsection of the field. So you do have to get into your drops, into your sets in the right place. You do have to be able to think and manipulate quarterbacks. Like, it's going to be a little different, guys. And you're going to need some high football IQ players out there to execute these systems the correct way. Having adequate coaching, though, guys, will go a long way in doing that. And that is not a shot at Manuel, because I actually thought that Marquand Manuel made a lot of sense to bring back. I liked Marquand Manuel a lot. I thought he would have been a good fit. But, hey, look, he got a really good offer out there with the Jets. I don't blame him. That's a good situation as well. They have a ton of freaking first and second round picks this draft. And, like, I get it, man. They got a really, Sula's a very good head coach. I think he's going to be a really good head coach, guys. I mean, I honestly understand why he wanted to be there. But Shakial Taylor, I don't know how you say his name exactly, guys. This is what I know about him, guys. Leave your comments down below. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Here's the deal, guys. Part 3, we're going to talk about Jalen Hurts. We're going to get into some of the positives, and then we're going to get into the areas where Jalen Hurts has to improve upon to be a franchise quarterback. When I say franchise quarterback, guys, I'm not talking about being a decent quarterback, guys. I'm talking about being a top 12 quarterback, all right? That conversation is tonight. I'm going to release that interview with Max Brown. So, see y'all tonight. Like I said, guys, I'll premiere it, and we can chat as it's playing. And with that, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank y'all so much, man, for tuning in.